My night shift in the ER, two patients arrived on one gurney, naked under the same emergency blanket. It was my husband and my daughter-in-law, right here, in the hospital I've worked at for 30 years. I realized they had secretly signed a life insurance policy on my life. That accident was supposed to be mine. They thought I was weak. But this bloody shift just became my cold trap of revenge. My name is Eleanor Hayes. I am 58 years old, and I am a night shift nurse at Novella Care General. This hospital, planted in the middle of America's heartland, has seen every part of me for 3 decades. The exhaustion is bone deep, but the fluorescent lights keep you sharp. You see too many sunrises from the wrong side of the window, too many lives ending or beginning under your hands. You learn to be tired and precise at the same time. Tonight, the chaos rolled in just after 2 a.m. The automatic doors hissed open, and the paramedics slammed through. MVA, 2 critical rollover on the interstate. The lead doctor is already shouting for ONEG and a trauma cart. The monitors are screaming before the patients are even fully transferred. The air is thick with that awful mix of sterile antiseptic and the faint, metallic tang of gasoline clinging to their clothes. I move. I do not think. I just do. This is the reflex of 30 years. Vitals unstable on the male. Probable tension pneumo. I hear someone shout. I am already at his side. My hands find the vein for the large bore IV. My shears cut through the blood-soaked fabric of his shirt. My mind is a checklist airway. Breathing. Circulation. I register the deep lacerations, the unnatural angle of his left arm. As I secure the IV line, my gaze catches his left hand. The ring. It is a simple gold band, the one I picked out 30 years ago at a small shop downtown. A cold jolt hits my stomach, but I push it down. It is a coincidence. It has to be. There are thousands of rings like this. I focus on the chest wound, preparing the decompression needle. Focus. Eleanor. The paramedic shoves the clipboard toward me. Got his wallet before transport. I grab the chart, my eyes scanning the triage notes, and then they lock on the name. Gregory Hayes, age 61. The syringe in my hand, the one I was about to use, shakes. Just slightly, but it is enough. The world narrows to that name. Gregory, my husband. A low moan comes from the second gurney, just feet away. The other victim, the female. I turn. My movements stiff, robotic. Her hair is matted with blood. But even through the gore, I smell it. That floral, expensive perfume she always wore. My eyes drop to her wrist as another nurse cuts away her sleeve. A small, delicate tattoo of a dragonfly. Maya. My daughter-in-law. My widowed, 33-year-old daughter-in-law. A young resident, running on caffeine and adrenaline, shouts across the trauma bay. Oblivious. Paramedic brief says they were found together, reported as husband and wife. Looks like they were hit right after leaving that cheap motel off the highway. The words detonate in the sterile air. Husband and wife. Motel. The screaming of the monitors is suddenly muffled, as if I am underwater. I have to move. I am the charge nurse. I am a professional. I turn back to Gregory. I help the doctor insert the chest tube. My hands are steady now, encased in surgical gloves. But they do not feel like mine. I am saving his life. I am saving her life. And with every compression, every check of the monitor, a single thought, colder than any steel instrument, forms in my mind. How long have they been betraying me? The immediate crisis passes. We pull them back from the edge. They are stabilized, intubated, and being prepped for surgery and the ICU. The adrenaline drains from my body, leaving a hollow, freezing void. I lean against the cool tile of the hallway, the smell of blood and disinfectant clinging to my scrubs. A cold sweat trickles down my spine. I know this shift is not over. It is not just another night of saving lives. This is the first night of a war. My husband, Gregory. For more than 30 years, he was my anchor. He was an engineer, a quiet man who measured the world in right angles and solid foundations. He was not a man of grand gestures or flowery words, but he was steady. He was the predictable, comforting rhythm of my life. The coffee that was always ready when I got home from a long night shift. The bills that were always paid on time. He was stability itself. Our son, Daniel, was the gentle center of that stable world. He was a kind soul, a brilliant IT guy who spoke a language of code I never understood. He was our only child. When he brought Maya home, I was honestly relieved. She was vibrant, ambitious in a way Daniel was not, and she had a drive that I recognized, having come from a humble background herself. I truly believed we had finally gained the daughter I always wanted. In those first few years, we were genuinely close. We would spend Sunday afternoons cooking together, scrolling through Pinterest for hours, planning how to redecorate the guest room. She started calling me Mom almost immediately, and the word slipped out so naturally it melted that professional wall I keep up at the hospital. Then, 2 years ago, the foundation of our lives disintegrated. Daniel died. The police report was clinical, detached. A single car accident on a clear night. They concluded he must have fallen asleep at the wheel. There were no signs of foul play. I remember the funeral home, the suffocating, sweet smell of too many white lilies. I remember Maya's pale, drawn face as she leaned heavily on Gregory's shoulder, her slight frame shaking. At the time, I saw only shared grief, a devastated father-in-law steadying his broken daughter. We were a family, shattered and clinging to each other. After the funeral, Maya moved in with us. Just for a little while, she had said, her eyes red-rimmed. I just cannot stand being alone in that apartment. It seemed logical. None of us wanted to be alone, but the weeks turned into months, and temporary became permanent. I was so exhausted by my own grief, by the relentless demands of the night shift, that I was grateful for her presence. She managed the house. She made the dinners. She was helping. I let myself ignore the small things, the tiny dissonant notes in our quiet house, the way her hand would sometimes rest on Gregory's arm just a second too long, the way they would both look up, startled, when I walked into the living room, their phones quickly going dark, the quiet, shared laughter over jokes I was not privy to. He once called them kindred spirits. It pricked at me, a tiny sliver of discomfort, but I buried it immediately. I told myself I was grieving, that I was suspicious of any new bond now that Daniel was gone. I was just a tired, cynical old woman. Then Gregory started pushing me to retire. "Eleanor, you have worked enough," he would say over dinner, his tone reasonable. "We should enjoy our time." He started talking about selling our large house in the suburbs, the one Daniel grew up in. He mentioned moving, perhaps closer to Maya, or to a high-end retirement community he had found a brochure for. Silver Pines Retreat, it was called. The name sounded lovely but impossibly vague. Around the same time, Maya offered to take over the paperwork. "Mom, you are so tired," she said, her voice laced with a concern that seemed so genuine. "This generation just understands all this new insurance and investment stuff better. Let me help you get organized." It felt like a weight lifting. I gave her my email passwords. I gave her the online banking information. It was not giving up control. It was accepting help. It was letting my daughter take care of me. We still had our routines. We watched baseball on television on Tuesday nights. We had Sunday dinners, the three of us, a triangle trying to patch the hole Daniel left. I trusted them. I trusted them with my home, my money, and my future. Now, standing in the cold hallway of the ICU, the sterile beep of the monitors the only sound. I look through the glass. I see Gregory on one bed, Maya on the other, both breathing with the help of machines I helped hook up. All those little, insignificant moments, the lingering touch, the Silver Pines brochure, the shared password, the kindred spirits, they are no longer random memories. They are clicking into place, one by one, assembling a horrifying, meticulously planned picture. A picture I should have seen long, long ago. My hands are still steady as I change another IV bag for a different patient, but my mind is reeling, pulling up memories from the last few months. It started subtly. I misplaced my keys. I found them. 2 days later, in the sugar canister. Another time. I left the gas stove on, the blue flame hissing silently for an hour before Gregory found it. I had been so certain I turned it off. Maya had put her arm around me, her voice dripping with soft, practiced concern. "Mum, you have been working so hard," she murmured. "Maybe you are starting to have some memory issues. We are just worried about you." The seed of doubt, planted so gently. Then Gregory brought home the brooch. It was glossy, full of soft blues and smiling, serene, older faces. The New Dawn Cognitive Center. He suggested I go, just for a checkup. For peace of mind. I had scoffed, blaming the night shift. "Greg, I am just tired, not losing my mind," I said. But the suggestion hung in the air, another small weight on my confidence. Soon after, Maya insisted on helping me with my medications. "Just to make sure you do not forget." "Mom?" She bought one of those 7-day pill organizers. She filled it for me every Sunday. I did notice a few new, unlabeled capsules. "Oh, those are just herbal sleep aids," she said breezily when I asked. "A friend of mine swears by them. They will help you rest after those awful shifts." And I did rest. I rested so deeply I felt like I was swimming through mud just to wake up. I became groggy, listless. I remember one evening, blurred by that herbal fog. She brought me a small stack of papers. "Mum, this is just some new insurance paperwork, just to make sure everything is in order for peace of mind," she explained, guiding my hand. "Sign here and here." I signed. I trusted my family. The image of my own signature, sloppy and weak on that page, now burns behind my eyes as I stand in this hospital. The squeak of a police officer's rubber-soled shoes pulls me back to the present. He is here finishing the accident report. He nods at me, a professional courtesy. "Rough night, nurse," he says, sipping from a styrofoam cup. "Nasty one. That SUV was completely totaled. Funny thing, it is the exact same model and color as your car. Nurse Hayes. Saw it in the driveway when I dropped off a form last year. This one's registered to Mr. Hayes and the younger woman. Though A chill, sharp and specific, cuts through the buzzing fatigue. My mind flashes back to last week. Just last week. Gregory had been insistent, unusually so, that we go on a picnic. Just the two of us. L, for a change of scenery? He had a specific day in mind, a specific route. I had to cancel at the last minute. The hospital called me in for a mandatory overtime shift. That day, the day he had planned, it was today, and the brakes. 3 weeks ago, driving home on a perfectly dry afternoon. I pressed the pedal, and the car slid for a sickening second before catching. I took it to the mechanic. He was baffled. "This is weird. Mrs. Hayes," he said, wiping grease from his hands. "The brake line. It looks like someone tried to tamper with it, but did a real amateur job, like they did not know what they were doing, but they definitely tried." I looked down the long, sterile corridor. The fluorescent lights overhead are too bright, buzzing with a high-pitched, accusatory whine. The echo of a metal cart rolling in the distance sounds like thunder. This hospital, my sanctuary for 30 years, suddenly feels like a trap. The realization settles, cold and heavy, in my gut. I was not supposed to be here tonight. I was supposed to be in that car. That accident, that motel tryst, it was not their original plan. It was their backup plan. After the first one failed, I was the target. My shift is almost over, but protocol is protocol. The patient's personal effects, recovered from the crash, must be inventoried and secured. I go to the small property room, my name on the clipboard giving me access. I open the sealed plastic bag marked Maya Hayes, her purse stained with mud and something darker. I open it, my gloved hands meticulously laying out a wallet, lipstick, a broken compact, and tucked in a side pocket, neatly folded, is a thick sheaf of papers. It is not a hospital form. The header is from Pioneer Shield Life, and there, typed in bold, undeniable print under policyholder, is my name, Eleanor Hayes, a life insurance policy for a very, very large sum of money. My hands, usually so steady, are shaking. I am alone in the cold silence of the hospital's patient property room. I pull my personal phone from my scrub pocket, the screen's light blinding. I lay the insurance policy flat on the metal counter and start taking pictures, page after page. Click, click. The fluorescent light above hums. Insured Eleanor Hayes. Primary beneficiary Gregory Hayes. Contingent beneficiary Maya Hayes. And the policy effective date a little over 3 weeks ago. The day I sat on my own sofa, wrapped in a blanket, feeling so foggy and tired. The day Maya gently guided my hand to sign the peace of mind papers. I swipe to the next photo, zooming in on the fine print. I am a nurse. I am trained to read the details, to see what others miss. Appendix B, a special addendum. It details a maximum, accelerated payout in the event of the insured's death by accidental means. It specifically highlights death in a motor vehicle accident, with an even higher sum if the victim is over the age of 55. It is a perfect, tailor-made description of the tampered brakes on my car. I reseal Maya's bag, my stomach churning. I move to Gregory's, his wallet, his keys, his phone. I press the side button, and the screen illuminates. It is not locked. In the chaos of the trauma bay, they must have skipped the security protocols. It is still open. The screen is filled with missed calls, but one email notification at the top of the list, received just an hour before the crash, makes my breath catch. The subject line reads, Final steps in legal guardianship file for Eleanor Hayes. My thumb taps the screen before my brain can process it. It opens. It is from a law firm I have never heard of. Some back-alley legal service. Attached is a draft petition to the county court, requesting immediate and total legal guardianship of my estate and my medical decisions. The petitioners, Gregory Hayes, and his trusted relative, Maya Hayes. The reason, a confirmed diagnosis of rapid cognitive decline and early onset dementia. The diagnosis is signed by a physician I have never met, a Dr. Lyle Harlow. I feel the floor tilt. My thumb, moving on pure cold instinct, taps over to his text messages. The most recent thread is with M. Maya. I scroll up, reading their words. The diagnosis is filed. Dr. H says it's perfect. Good, Gregory replied. This is taking too long. The picnic idea is better. Maya's reply comes a moment later. Stop rushing. After the diagnosis is officially entered, we just need one accident. Then everything will be ours. Just keep adding the vitamins to her tea for a few more weeks. She is so groggy she barely knows what day it is. Vitamins. The unlabeled pills, the fog, the stove. They were not my failings. They were their weapons. I scroll further up, past weeks, past months, digging into a history I never knew existed. I stop at a date. 2 years ago, the week Daniel died. A message from Maya. I think Daniel knows. He is asking why I'm at your office so late. He is suspicious of us. Gregory's reply. He is soft. He will not do anything. And then Maya's. Cold and final. He is not soft. He is watching me. I am handling it. I am just going to add a little something extra to his allergy medicine tonight. He will be too unstable to drive straight. It will prove my point that he is stressed and not thinking clearly. The air in the room vanishes. I grip the steel counter to keep from falling. My son. His allergy medication. His falling asleep at the wheel on a clear night. It was not an accident. They did not just try to kill me. They murdered my son. I stumble out of the property room, my legs numb. I push open the door to the staff restroom and collapse against the sink, the cheap soap dispenser digging into my hip. I look up, into the harsh, unforgiving mirror. The woman staring back at me is pale, 58 years old, and looks every minute of her age. But her eyes are not confused. They are not old. They are burning. The thing rising in my chest is not grief. Not anymore. It is a cold, precise rage. My nurse's mind, my 30 years of training, screams at me. Report this. Go to security. This is a catastrophic conflict of interest. But the mother who just learned her son was murdered, the wife who was just served her own death sentence, whispers something far more powerful. This is my hospital. Eleanor. You know every procedure. You know every face. You know every camera. They brought this war to your territory. For the first time tonight. I am not the victim. I hold every advantage. I take one, deep, ragged breath. I turn on the tap and splash cold water on my face. I dry my hands, the rough paper towel scraping my skin. I slide my phone, now a vault of evidence, into the deep pocket of my scrubs. I look in the mirror one last time, pulling my shoulders back. I straighten the plastic name badge on my chest. It reads, Eleanor Hayes, or N. Charge nurse. I push the door open and step back into the hallway, its sterile white light now feeling like a spotlight. I am no longer the victim. I am the one writing the script for tonight. I do not go home when my shift ends. I go to my computer terminal, my fingers moving over the keys with the same precision I use for a difficult IV insertion. I am a creature of protocol. I file the requisite incident report for the 2 trauma patients in beds 1 and 2. I list their names: Gregory Hayes, Maya Hayes. I detail their injuries. And then, in the section reserved for administrative notes, I type the words "I know" will trip the hospital's internal alarm system. Reporting staff member is the legal spouse of patient 1 and mother-in-law of patient 2. A potential and significant conflict of interest may exist regarding patient care, next of kin notifications, and fiduciary matters. I sign my name and submit the report. I have just lit a match in a room full of gasoline. It does not take 2 hours. Before the sun is fully up, Olivia Grant is waiting for me outside the ICU, holding a tablet. Olivia is the head of risk management. She is in her mid-50s, with sharp eyes that see everything and a mouth that tolerates no nonsense. She used to be a charge nurse herself, which means she cannot be fooled. "Eleanor," she says, her voice low and void of pleasantries. "Conflict of interest. That is a heavy flag to raise on your own family. You want to tell me what fiduciary matters you are referring to?" I look at her, my colleague of 20 years. "Olivia, in their personal effects, I found a life insurance policy taken out on my life and draft paperwork to have me declared legally incompetent." Olivia's expression does not change, but her eyes harden. "Come with me," she says. We do not go to her office. We go to a small, windowless conference room in the administrative wing. I show her the photographs on my phone. She swipes through them slowly, her brow furrowed. She does not gasp or offer sympathy. She analyzes. "This is not a conflict. Eleanor," she says finally, placing the phone on the table, "this is a criminal conspiracy, and you are not handling this alone." She makes a call. "Marcus, I have one for you. It is bad. Elder abuse, insurance fraud, and it looks like it is tied to a current trauma case here at Novellacare." "Yes. The nurse is the victim." She listens. "Good. We are in conference room B." Marcus Kell arrives in 20 minutes, looking more like a tired professor than a shark. But Olivia treats him with deference. I tell him everything. The car, the pills, the text messages about my son. He listens without interruption, his face grim. He gives me clear instructions. I am to allow him, through Olivia, to make a secure forensic copy of the phones, which are still locked in the hospital safe. "Olivia will file the official report on the hospital's behalf," Marcus says, his voice calm but firm. "She will flag the insurance policy as a potential violation discovered during a routine asset check. Your name will be listed only as the next of kin. To them, you must be the grieving, confused wife. You are overwhelmed. You let them believe you are exactly the person they tried to create." Marcus moves faster than I thought possible. That afternoon, he calls me on a secure line Olivia provides. "Eleanor, I spoke with Pioneer Shield Life. The policy is active. They were just waiting for the final step, a mandatory verification call with you. It was scheduled for next Tuesday." I grip the phone. The picnic. The one I cancelled. That was the day. They were going to kill me. And when I did not answer the phone call next week, they would assume control through their fraudulent guardianship and cash the policy. The motel crash was not the plan. It was a reckless, panicked mistake after I failed to die on schedule. It gets worse. Marcus continues. The doctor who signed your cognitive decline diagnosis, Dr. Lyle Harlow, I hear him rustling papers. His medical license was permanently revoked in Arizona 3 years ago. He was part of a ring that targeted seniors, doping them with heavy sedatives and selling fraudulent diagnoses to relatives so they could seize their assets. He is not a doctor. Eleanor. He is a signature for hire. The pieces slammed together. They were going to use my hospital, my exhaustion, to prove I was losing my mind. But they failed. Now, this hospital is my weapon. Every security camera, every electronic medication log, every lab report, every visitor sign-in sheet. It is all my evidence now. I find Olivia. The pills, I say, my voice hoarse. Maya organized my pills. She gave me herbal vitamins. They are in a weekly organizer by my bed. Do not go home, she orders. Olivia is a woman of action. She works with Marcus, and within hours, a uniformed officer has retrieved the contents of my nightstand as part of the official investigation. She brings the pill case, still half full, directly to our hospital's toxicology lab. Later that evening, she finds me in the deserted staff lounge. She places the small, plastic 7-day pill box on the table between us. The preliminary screen is back, she says quietly. It is not herbs. Eleanor. It is a benzodiazepine. A powerful, unprescribed one. The dosage is low, but consistent. Enough to make you confused, forgetful, and unsteady. Not enough to kill you. That, I imagine, is what the tampered breaks were for. I stare at the pillbox. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. The small plastic coffins where they tried to bury my mind. A coldness I have never known settles over me. I look up at Olivia, and I smile. It is not a smile of happiness, or even relief. It is the smile of a woman who has finally grasped the hilt of the knife. Gregory wakes up first. His surgery for internal bleeding was complicated, but he is stable. I am his assigned nurse for this part of the shift, a decision Olivia and I made. I enter the room, check his monitors, and adjust his saline drip. My face is a blank mask of professional neutrality. Water, he rasps, his eyes cloudy with anesthesia and fear. I take a small sponge swab, dip it in water, and moisten his lips. Hello, Mr. Hayes, I say, my voice flat, the standard tone I use for any patient. Your surgery went well. The doctor will be in to speak with you shortly. His eyes struggle to focus on me. The fog clears, and a jolt of pure panic flashes across his face. Eleanor. Elle. What? What do you know? I pause, tilting my head as if in mild confusion. I know you were in a terrible accident, Mr. Hayes. The paramedics said you were on a business trip, handling some family financial papers with Maya. I use their lie, the one they must have prepared, and serve it back to them on a sterile tray. His panic shifts to bewilderment. He searches my face for any sign, any crack. I give him nothing. I begin my performance. It is the most important role of my life. As another nurse, a young resident, comes in, I play the part they wrote for me. Doctor, what day is it again? I ask, my hand fluttering to my temple. I seem to be all turned around. When the resident introduces herself for the 3rd time that night, I smile vaguely and say, "It is so nice to meet you, dear." I feel the small black eye of the security camera in the corner of the room, my silent audience. Marcus and Olivia were clear. Let the hospital's own records show the confused old woman they have been creating. Maya wakes up 2 hours later. She is in a separate room down the hall, with a concussion and 2 broken ribs. But her mind is sharp. As soon as I am out of earshot, she begins her own performance. Olivia, making routine rounds, is there to hear it. Maya sobs to the attending physician. "You have to watch my mother-in-law. She is not well. She has been forgetting everything. Her pills, where she is. She even tried to hurt herself. I think she is just not right since Daniel passed." She lays the groundwork, seeding my medical file with their fiction, unaware that Olivia is taking meticulous notes for an entirely different kind of file. Later, Maya insists on seeing me. She is in a wheelchair, her face a mask of purple bruises and faux concern. She dismisses the nurse, wanting a private moment. "Oh, Mom," she whispers, grabbing my hand. Her skin is cold. "I was so worried. When I saw the car coming, I just thought about you. All alone." I let my shoulders slump. I let my eyes fill with the tears of a woman who is exhausted and terrified. "I do not know what I am doing anymore. Maya," I whisper back, the lie tasting like ash. "I am so scared. I am forgetting things. What if I am? What if I am going crazy?" Her eyes light up, a predatory glint she cannot hide. She squeezes my hand. "No, no, Mom. You are just tired. But maybe it is time to let us help you. You should not have to worry about the house or the bills. Maybe it is time you just signed a paper. Let us take care of everything for you." I will think about it," I say, pulling my hand back. "I need to rest." I leave her room. I do not go far. I stand in the alcove just opposite, hidden by a large linen cart. I am supposed to be checking charts. Instead, I wait. Gregory's room is right next to hers. The doors are propped open for observation. I hear their voices, low and hissing. They think I am gone. This is a disaster. Gregory. Maya's whisper is venomous. She is acting weird. She is not. Devastated enough. What if she knows? How could she know? He snaps back, his voice thick with pain and rage. She is too confused to see her own face. This is your fault. Your reckless driving. You almost got us both killed. My fault, she hisses. My fault. You were the one who insisted on that stupid, elaborate picnic, that change of scenery garbage. If you had just let me handle the brakes properly the first time, she would be dead already, and we would be at the bank. I lean against the wall, the cold tile seeping through my scrubs. My phone is in my scrub pocket, the audio recorder on. I capture every single word. The accident was the picnic. The failed brakes were Maya's. The motel was their celebration, turned into their prison. It is all there, cold, hard, and saved. I meet Marcus in the cafeteria at dawn. He listens to the recording, his face impassive. This is it. Eleanor, he says. We have them. Now. We let them finish the job for us. They are going to be desperate to push the guardianship through, to get control before you change your mind, or get worse. We let them. We let them walk right into the trap. That afternoon, Maya is wheeled back to my house by a medical transport. Gregory is still too injured to move. She finds me on the sofa, wrapped in a blanket, looking lost. Mom, she says, her voice gentle again. I brought some papers. It is just so we can help you talk to the doctors. It is an agreement to see a specialist, to get a cognitive assessment, Just to make sure you are okay. She hands me the form and a pen. Please, Mum. For us? For Daniel. I look at the paper. Consent for cognitive evaluation. Dr. Lyle Harlow. Okay, dear, I murmur. Whatever you think is best. My hand shakes. A perfect performance. I take the pen she offers, but as I lean over, I fumble, and it drops. Oh, clumsy me, I say. I reach into my own pocket, pulling out the pen Marcus gave me earlier. It is a simple, black ballpoint pen, heavy for its size. I have one here, I say. I click the top. A tiny, nearly invisible blue light flashes once. I sign my name, agreeing to meet the man who already declared me incompetent. Dr. Lyle Harlow does not look like a doctor. He looks like a vulture in a cheap suit. He arrives the next day, introducing himself to the unit manager as a consulting specialist for post-traumatic stress. A service, he claims, offered to families after severe accidents. He thinks no one sees the way he clasps Gregory's shoulder, a gesture far too familiar for a first meeting, or the satisfied nod he gives Maya, who is back visiting in her wheelchair. But I notice. Olivia notices. He requests a private evaluation with me in a family consultation room. The pen Marcus gave me is clipped securely to the front of my scrub top, its tiny lens aimed perfectly at him. Harlow's voice is like synthetic honey. Now, Eleanor, you must be feeling so overwhelmed. Am I right? It is hard to keep track of things when you are grieving. I look at the floor, playing my part. Grieving, I ask, as if the concept is new. Yes, Daniel. It all started then. Did not it, the confusion? I nod slowly. Sometimes I forget what day it is. He smiles, scribbling on his pad. And these financial papers. The insurance? It is all too much for one person. Is not it? He coaxes. It is better to let those who are younger, clearer, handle things. Yes. I look up, letting my eyes focus on him sharply for the first time. Only, I say, my voice suddenly clear and cold. If the petition for guardianship correctly follows this state's statutes regarding the least restrictive alternative. Otherwise, it is grounds for immediate dismissal by the court. His smile freezes. The pen in his hand stops moving. I just watched a predator realize his prey might have teeth. He recovers quickly, ending the session by patting my hand. You just rest, dear. I know where he is going. I wait 10 minutes. Then I walk to the medication room where Olivia is stocking supplies. I swap the pen for a sterile saline flush. She takes it without a word. Later, she confirms what the tiny camera captured. Harlow, standing by Gregory's bedside with Maya. She is slipping, he whispers, confidentially. But she is fighting it. It does not matter. The old file is strong enough. I just needed this evaluation to complete the picture. This accident is a gift. It proves she cannot handle the stress. The court will believe she is completely incapable of managing her own affairs now. Olivia uploads the encrypted file immediately. Marcus is on it. He contacts the state's Elder Abuse Division and the Insurance Commissioner's Fraud Unit. They are not just filing a complaint. They are coordinating an arrest. The warrant will be issued quietly, waiting for the right moment. Gregory is getting agitated. He knows the accident has exposed them. He needs to regain control. I am charting at the nurse's station when I see him refuse his physical therapist. I am fine, he barks. When the therapist leaves, he wheels himself into the patient alcove, fumbling for his phone. He thinks he is hidden. I am just passing by, pushing a linen cart. I slow my pace. You have to file it now. He hisses into the phone. File the guardianship today. She is fading in and out. I do not want her changing her mind. I have the doctor's diagnosis right here. It says she is not lucid. I keep walking, my own phone in my pocket, the audio recorder on. The real pressure point, however, is Maya. She is discharged, but she is back in Gregory's room constantly. She went home last night. She went to check on things. Now, she is terrified. She is pacing by Gregory's bed, her voice a frantic whisper. The pillbox is gone. Greg. The one I filled for her. It is not on her nightstand. It is just gone. Someone was in that house. Someone took it. He tries to calm her, but she is spiraling. Do not you get it? She is not confused. She is faking, or someone is helping her. Her paranoia is making her loud, sloppy. She is losing the cold control that murdered my son. I am exhausted. Marcus told me to rest before tomorrow's signing. I am in Gregory's room, supposedly dozing in the visitor's chair, playing the part of the devoted, weary wife. My breathing is deep and even. Maya thinks I am asleep. She leans close to Gregory's bed, her lips near his ear. It does not matter, she whispers. A final, chilling reassurance. Harlow and the lawyer are setting the meeting for tomorrow. As soon as you sign those papers, as soon as we have control, she is going to Evergreen Palms. It is a nice facility, but they do not allow visitors for the first 60 days. By then, the house will be sold. The insurance will be processed. We pay what we owe, and we are in Florida. A new life, just like we planned. I hear every word. Evergreen Palms. They have even picked out my prison. The night shift ticks on. The hospital breathes around me. The red glow of the crash cart's charging light pulses on the wall, reflecting on Gregory's sleeping, oblivious face. The quiet, rhythmic hiss-click of the morphine PCA pump next to his bed, the one I checked an hour ago, sounds like a countdown. The squeak of a resident's sneakers on the linoleum, a distant code blue alarm, all of it, every sound, is a reminder that this is my world, this is my territory. I finally leave his room and go to the empty, dark break room. I lie down on the uncomfortable folding cot, but I do not sleep. I stare up at the ceiling, the darkness absolute. I do not feel fear. I feel a terrible, cold calm. Tomorrow, right here, in this hospital, in one of their sterile conference rooms, I will let them sign their names. I will let them sign their own sentences. The meeting is set for 10 a.m. in a small beige conference room on the administrative floor. It feels sterile, disconnected from the life and death drama of the ICU just 3 floors below. Gregory is wheeled in by a transport orderly, his face a pasty grey, his leg propped up on the chair. Maya follows, her limp pronounced, her face still bruised but set in a mask of determined concern. Dr. Harlow is already there, shuffling papers with a proprietary air, a notary public, a mousy woman who looks bored, sets up her stamp at the end of the table. They all believe this is a formality. The door opens. I walk in slowly, leaning on a cane I found in the physical therapy department. I am clutching a thick folder of what looks like my own medical charts. I look frail, weak, and obedient. Beside me, in a crisp blazer, is Olivia Grant. "Good morning," Olivia says, her voice echoing slightly in the small room. Gregory looks up sharply, his eyes narrowing. Who are you? I am Olivia Grant, from Hospital Risk Management, she says smoothly. Given Mrs. Hayes is signing legal documents on hospital property regarding her own care, I am just here as a hospital representative to ensure all decisions are being made with full, lucid consent. Gregory shifts, a flicker of irritation crossing his face. Harlow clears his throat and takes control. A very sensible precaution, he says, beaming at Olivia with his false smile. He turns to me, his voice dropping to that patronizing, syrupy tone. Eleanor, we are all here just to help you. We have spoken about how overwhelming things are. These papers, he gestures to the stack in front of the notary, are just a safety net. They allow Gregory and Maya to handle the stressful things, the bills, the decisions, so you can focus on healing. Olivia's shirt pocket and the pen clipped inside it is aimed directly at his face. Gregory and Maya are vibrating with impatience. Maya cannot sit still. She reaches across the table and pushes the top document toward me. It is just a power of attorney. Mum, she urges, her voice trying for softness. Total authority over financial and medical decisions. Just sign here. She points to the line. It is what Daniel would have wanted, for you to be safe. The mention of my son's name is like a spark on a short fuse. I let my hand tremble as I pick up the cheap ballpoint pen. I look at the paper, then up at Maya, my eyes wide and confused. So, just so I understand, I ask, my voice thin and reedy. If I sign this, it means, from tomorrow, I have no say in my house, or my money. You two just nod, and it is done. My question, so simple and raw, hangs in the air. The notary, who had been mindlessly checking her phone, looks up, her expression suddenly sharp. She glances at Harlow, then at Gregory. Well, in a manner of speaking, Harlow begins, stepping in quickly. Legally, it means the door to the conference room swings open. It does not creak. It slams against the wall stopper. Two men in dark suits and one uniformed police officer step inside, filling the doorway. Dr. Harlow, Mr. Hayes, Ms. Hayes, the lead detective asks, his voice polite but carrying absolute authority. He and his partner flip open their badges. We are investigators with the State Insurance Fraud Division. This is Officer Miller. We received a report of potential coercion regarding this meeting. We will be observing the rest of this signing. Gregory's hand grips the armrest of his wheelchair so hard, his knuckles turn white. This is a private family matter, he yells, his voice cracking. You have no right. Maya, in an instant, dissolves. The hard, ambitious woman vanishes, and the victim takes her place. Tears spring to her eyes. He is right. What is this, my mother-in-law is very confused. She is not well. She points a shaking finger at Olivia. You did this. Someone has been poisoning her against us, trying to steal her money. We are just trying to help her. I set the pen down. I push the folder of fake charts away from me. I sit up straight, the cane clattering to the floor. The room goes silent. I turn my head and look directly at Maya. For the first time, I let her see the person who has been listening for the past 2 days. You mean the clonazepam? I ask, my voice clear and carrying the full weight of my 30 years as a charge nurse. The benzodiazepine you put in my pillbox, you were giving me approximately 0.5 milligrams twice a day. It is an anticonvulsant, but in an older adult not habituated to it. It causes memory impairment, somnolence, and profound psychomotor retardation. It makes you look, for all intents and purposes, like you are developing dementia. The blood drains from Maya's face. The notary's jaw is open. The police officer's hand rests lightly on his belt. And, I continue, it perfectly supports a fraudulent diagnosis from a man like Dr. Harlow here, whose license was revoked in Arizona for doing exactly this to at least 3 other seniors. Harlow turns the color of old parchment. This, Olivia Grant says, stepping forward, is where we end the speculation. She pulls a small laptop from her bag, flips it open, and connects a cable to the large monitor on the conference room wall. The pen I am wearing, Dr. Harlow, is a high-definition audio and video recorder. This is a conversation you, Mr. Hayes, and Ms. Hayes had yesterday in room C12. She hits play. The monitor flickers to life, and there, in full color, is the grainy, close-up shot of Harlow's face, whispering, "The old file is strong enough. This accident is a gift. It proves she cannot handle the stress. The court will believe she is completely incapable of managing her own affairs now." The 3 of them stare, frozen, at their own conspiracy playing out on the wall. The conference room has just become an interrogation room, and I am the one who locked the door. The explosion in the conference room did not end with a conviction. It ended with a stalemate. After the video played, after the detectives read them their rights, Maya's high-priced lawyer, paid for with money that was probably mine, materialized. He argued about illegal recordings, patient confidentiality, and undue stress on trauma victims. The police were furious, but their hands were tied. Dr. Harlow was suspended from the hospital and told not to leave the state, but Gregory and Maya, protected by their status as patients, were simply returned to their rooms. The investigation was ongoing. The immediate threat was gone, but the snakes were still in my house. That night, the real chaos began. Gregory, realizing the depth of the evidence, finally broke. He was not calculating, just terrified. He tore the IV line from his arm, ripping the tape and skin, screaming that he was being framed. "She is the crazy one," he bellowed, his voice echoing in the corridor. "She and that nurse, Olivia, they are in this together. They are trying to have me committed so they can steal my money." It took 2 orderlies and a stat dose of a powerful sedative to get him restrained and back in bed. He was a cornered rat, biting at everything. Maya was the opposite. Her fear was like dry ice, cold and silent. She rebuilt her story. I was on my rounds, and I heard her on her cell phone, her voice a low, furious hiss. "You do not understand," she was saying to someone, an unknown person on the other end. "The old woman is not confused. She is manipulative. She has this lawyer, Marcus, and a hospital administrator wrapped around her finger. They are building a false narrative. They are trying to paint me as the villain." She listened for a long moment. "Yes," she finally said, her voice deadly. "Before she can testify, that is exactly what I'm saying. She needs to be handled, permanently. Can you or can you not set it up?" I moved on before she could see me, a new, different kind of chill running down my spine. She was not just trying to outsmart me, she was arranging to have me eliminated. I stopped outside Gregory's room. He was finally quiet, the sedative dragging him under. The morphine pump beside his bed gave a soft, rhythmic click. I looked at the control panel. I knew the codes. I knew the lethal dose. For one black, sickening moment, I thought about it. I could end it all right now. One push of a button for the bolus, an adjustment to the continuous dose. He would just stop breathing. It would be a peaceful, painless end. The perfect murder, disguised as mercy. My hand hovered over the screen, but I could not. The 30 years of my life, the oath I took, the face of every patient I had ever saved, it all rose up and held my hand back. I would not become her. Just after midnight, the storm hit. A brutal Midwestern gale that slammed rain and wind against the windows. The lights buzzed, flickered, and then the whole building went black. 3 full seconds of absolute darkness, and then the emergency generators kicked in. Red and green lights lit the hallways, but the system was damaged. The ER was instantly overwhelmed with storm-related traumas. And in the chaos, I saw it, the security camera in Maya's hallway, the one monitoring her police guard, was dead. A black screen on my monitor. Maya seized her chance. The guard was pulled to help with a multi-car pile-up flooding the ER. The unit was screaming. I felt it before I saw it. That prickle of wrongness. I walked down the hall. Maya's room was empty. I ran to Gregory's. His bed was empty. His wheelchair was gone. "He is missing," I yelled to the unit clerk, but I was already moving. I went to the stairwell, the one leading to the basement garage. The floor was wet, the storm driving rain through the ventilation shaft. And there, on the tile, were 2 thin, wet tracks. Wheelchair tracks. I pulled out my phone as I ran. I did not call hospital security. I called the detective Marcus had given me. "They are running," I said, my voice low and breathless. "Maya and Gregory. They are in the basement parking garage. Level B. She has a car waiting." "We are 5 minutes out," he said. "Keep the line open. Do not engage." I pushed through the heavy fire door into the echoing, damp concrete of the garage. The wind howled through the open gate. A mournful sound. There. A dark sedan, idling by the far exit, its lights off. Maya was shoving Gregory, trying to lift his dead weight from the chair into the passenger seat. "Get in! Damn it!" she grunted. "He is almost here. Leaving so soon." They both froze. I stepped out from behind a concrete pillar. I was not the frail old woman. I was not the victim. I was just the charge nurse on her shift. And I held up my phone. The open call glowing on its screen. In the distance, I heard it. The faint, high-low wail of sirens, getting closer. Maya looked at me, at the phone, and at the approaching sirens. Her face, the one I had thought of as a daughter's, twisted into a mask of pure, reptilian hatred. She lunged. She grabbed the front of my scrubs, her grip like steel. You old bitch!" she shrieked, dragging me toward the open ramp that spiraled down to the next level. "You want an accident? I will give you a real accident." She was trying to throw me down the concrete drop, and that is when Gregory, the man I had spent my life with, finally, utterly, broke. "No," he screamed, his voice a terrified, sobbing wail that echoed off the concrete walls. "Stop it, Maya, it is over. It was all you. It was all your idea. You killed Daniel. You told me you put stuff in his medicine. You told me to cut the brakes on her car. It was always you." The confession, raw and complete, hung in the air, captured perfectly by my phone's open microphone. Headlights flooded the garage. 2 cruisers screeched to a halt, blocking the only exit. Maya let go of me. She stared at the flashing blue and red lights. She took one look at me, and she ran. She bolted toward the dark corner of the garage, but she was still injured. She slipped on a patch of wet, oily concrete and went down, hard. Before she could even scramble to her feet, the officers were on her, the click, click, click of the handcuffs sealing her fate. Gregory did not move. He just sat in his wheelchair, his head tipped back, weeping under the harsh fluorescent lights, his own voice having just signed his life away. When I walked into the county courthouse, I was not wearing scrubs for the first time in what felt like my entire life. I wore a simple blue dress. I did not need a cane. And my back was straight. My voice, when I had rehearsed my testimony, was no longer the thin, reedy whisper of a victim. It was calm. It was not a place of grief. It was the final operating theatre. And this was my stage. The prosecutor, a sharp young woman who had taken my case personally, laid it all out with clinical precision. She presented the evidence like a series of damning X-rays. There was the Pioneer Shield life insurance policy, with its $500,000 payout for accidental death. There was the fraudulent guardianship petition. There was the hospital's own toxicology report, identifying the exact benzodiazepine in my 7-day pill organizer. There was the high-definition video from the conference room, showing Harlow and their conspiracy inarguable. And finally, the crown jewel, the audio file from the parking garage, where Gregory's own voice, terrified and sobbing, convicted them both. Dr. Harlow was prosecuted separately, but agreed to testify to save himself. He sat there, a shell of his former arrogance, and admitted everything. He admitted Maya had paid him in cash, on 3 separate occasions, to build the false cognitive decline file. And then he gave us the final piece, the one that broke my heart all over again. He testified that Maya had asked him, in hypothetical terms, how one might use common sedatives to make a person seem erratic or disoriented. A question that pointed the police right back to the cold case file of my son, Daniel. Gregory's lawyer tried to paint him as a fool, not a monster. A weak, aging man, terrified of being left alone, who was manipulated by a beautiful, predatory younger woman. He was just going along out of fear. The prosecutor let him finish, then walked up to the defense table. "But Mr. Hayes," she asked, her voice quiet, "you were not just afraid. You had a choice. You could have chosen to protect your wife. You could have chosen to protect your son. You did not. Did you?" Gregory just stared at the table and said nothing. Maya's defense was even more pathetic. Her lawyer tried to sell a story of distorted ambition and a tragic childhood. He even had the audacity to suggest that I was suffering from memory loss, that this was all just a terrible family misunderstanding, blown out of proportion. But the evidence was not a misunderstanding. The video was not a memory problem. The toxicology report was not a family dispute. Every lie he told was shattered by a fact I had gathered. Then, it was my turn. I was sworn in. I did not cry. I did not raise my voice. I simply told them, as I would a jury of my peers, the facts. I described the taste of the tea Maya brought me every night, the faint, bitter, chemical aftertaste. I described the feeling of waking up in the afternoon, my clothes on inside out, with no memory of changing. I described the exact date I signed the insurance papers, because I had cross-referenced it with my nursing schedule. I presented my case to the jury, not as a victim, but as the lead investigator. And for my final statement, I looked at them. I looked at Gregory, a collapsed old man, and at Maya, who was still glaring at me with that cold, hard hatred. "My real revenge," I said, my voice clear and carrying to the back wall, "is not the years you will spend in prison. My greatest revenge is that you will have to live every single day for the rest of your lives knowing the truth that the woman you wrote off as old, weak, and confused was the only one in the room who saw exactly what you were. I was the one who pulled every string. I used the system you tried to use on me, and I let you walk, step by step, right into your own trap." The sentences were severe. Maya received the maximum for conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud, and elder abuse. Gregory received a lesser sentence, but one long enough to ensure he will spend the rest of his natural life behind bars. Harlow was stripped of his license permanently and will serve time. I walked out of the courthouse and stood on the top step, the sun hitting my face. I looked at the parking lot across the street, a place of no significance to anyone but me. I sold the house the next month. I did not need it. I took a new position at Novella Care. I am off the night shift. I now work as a patient advocate, consulting with the legal team to educate seniors on financial abuse and medical legal fraud. I took my story, and I turned it into a shield for other people. Sometimes, when I am leaving late, I walk by the ER. I did just the other night, during another rainstorm. The doors hissed open. I heard the familiar chaos, the beep, beep, beep of the monitors. For a moment, I was back there. But the sound did not bring fear. It was just a rhythm, the rhythm of a life that goes on. I had settled my debt, in the only way I knew how, not with blood, but with cold, precise, and absolute justice. Thank you all so much for listening to my story. I would love to connect with you. So please let me know where you are listening from and share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, I would be so grateful if you would subscribe to Grandma's Family Diary, like this video, and hit that hype button so this story can be heard by many more people.